Everyone, welcome back. Wednesday, 11 a.m. You know the deal by now. Got a couple of questions for today. Practical questions, theoretical questions. I'm all for it. Bring it on. Bring on the first one.
Hi, everyone. So the first question is, you always talk about the neutral hip. What would you do if you meet someone who can get into a neutral hip position when they are standing straight with 2 feet on the ground, but either once they start walking, for instance, like in a heavy farmer's carry or any other heavy carry, they do lose their neutral hip, or even worse, they can't even keep their neutral hip when they are doing something like an ab rollout.
Mhm. Okay, so very good question. So the base of the question is, for me, is how do you prepare someone for events that's going to happen, right? Um, because the pelvis tilting, that means either forward or backwards, or some movement in pelvis is going to happen to everyone eventually. This is not something you can avoid. The only thing you can do is prep as properly as possible for it, so um, it doesn't happen to be a problem once you're under heavy load. Okay, so let me explain. Everyone's hips shift and tilt when they're walking, and that's fine. There's nothing to fix there. Zero. There's no stress on your spine. Like leave it. All right. This is nothing you should fix while training people how to walk, right?
Mm.
Nothing to fix there. Okay. So your or my approach depends on, okay, what is your goal? Is your goal to just keep walking with your dog and whatever, do some garden work? Okay, we'll do some basic stuff. That means my profession is to make sure under load you can maintain your neutral hip for as long as possible, so that when you have to access it without any load, your hip is prepared for it. That is my approach. And the common approach is the other way around. So I'll prepare you for whatever it's coming. So I'll do quote unquote extreme stuff for you, so the normal stuff is super easy for you.
Mm.
Quick example. Um, the only thing I care about in training at first, starting is um, loading your hips, because that's what your hips need to be prepared for a neutral hip. So then you can start walking or running or doing stuff with your dog where your hip starts shifting and tilting. That is normal. So once I start training with you, both of your feet, I'll start with both of your feet on the ground, because it's literally easier for your hips to take load if both feet are on the ground rather than taking one step after the other, or even worse, doing unilateral stuff in the beginning. So I'll prep your hips to bear load with a neutral hip, with a neutral pelvis, and then you can do whatever you want afterwards. And the only thing I care about is, what is the thing afterwards? What's the worst that can happen to your hips? Is that a 300-kilo squat, or is walking with your dog?
Mhm.
Okay, that's the base where I'm starting from. And going back to your original question about walking. So let's take Sempe carry, for example. That's a perfect bridging a gap between doing Sempe squats and doing lunges, for example. So the Sempe squat is, you load your hips, you squeeze in, both of your feet are on the ground. You have a lot of tension built up to keep your hips neutral, right? The next step is you do the carry. So again, you're squeezing in, you're holding the carry tight. Still, you have to focus on squeezing your butt. But once one foot goes to front, your butt is gone. That's what's happening in your glutes. Once you're not on the ground with both feet, with them not moving, once you take a step, your glutes are gone,
Okay.
right? On the one side where the foot is elevated, obviously, the other one's on. So walking is literally like left glute, right glute, left glute, right glute. That's what's literally happening in your hips. So all you have to take care of, quote unquote, is, okay, just keep that one side on when that foot is on the ground. Sweet. Because actually for your hips, bodyweight lunges are the toughest one, because you have nothing to build tension towards or against, which is the sandbag, is just you and your body and your bones and your muscles. You're taking huge steps and you're literally loading one foot without any additional load after the other. That's what we see happening in bodyweight lunges. That's what we see most of the bones displacing. Way less than when people do sandbag squats with dangerous load or external load where people are so afraid of loads. So actually it's the reverse. It's a reverse project when you actually look at what people are doing in reality, in training, in the gym.
This might be a dumb question, but if you have someone doing lunges with two barbells, is there less display with two dumbbells? I'm sorry. Is there less displacement happening as opposed to the body weight stuff? Is that kind of
So
like
here,
helping it?
yes, no, because the point is not weight. The point is, or the equipment, the point is that equipment helping you to create tension towards the inside, right?
Okay.
And two dumbbells are not. Actually, if you want to use dumbbells, one's better because you can hold it here and squeeze it in. We have a weird perception of tension because tension always happens because there's gravity. So as soon as you are on this planet, there's tension in your body happening. You don't have to do anything. But everybody knows there's a difference between, for the lack of better words, passive and active tension. Like you see somebody squatting with a barbell and they just get like crumbled under the barbell, right? That is not active tension, but it's still tension. It's passive tension because you get crushed under the barbell. Then you see another person with the same weight, like crushing the barbell, meaning, okay, they have enough tension and it looks perfect. It's like, okay, this looks way more like active tension. And I'm gonna go back to this. What you can do to have active tension rather than passive tension. And one is create tension towards the inside with stuff in between your hands. This is what we've done for thousands of years until 150 years ago when the barbell showed up. That's all I'm saying. This is what we've done, creating tension towards the inside with stuff in between our hands until 150 years ago. That doesn't mean the barbell is bad, on the contrary, but it just takes more effort to learn how to do that.